What's up everyone, welcome back. Today we're putting the Axial SCX24 Lexus to the ultimate test on our custom indoor rock crawler track. Let's see how this beast performs straight out of the box. Let's kick things off by taking this stock rig to the trail section. This part of the track is packed with rocks, dirt and logs, designed to really test how the rig handles real trail conditions. We'll check out how the tires pick up debris, clean themselves, and grip onto slippery surfaces like fake and real rocks you may find on a trail or an indoor track like this one. We'll see how it handles steep inclines, tight turns, and uneven terrain. This is where we really find out if the stock setup can keep up with more challenging environments. Alright, so on the trail section, we noticed this rig is pretty speedy right out of the box, perfect for those mild obstacles. The stock tires, they do a great job cleaning themselves on dirt and still grip onto rocks, even if there's a bit of slip. With a bit of throttle control, you can handle these obstacles just fine as we keep exploring the track. Now, let's step things up by hitting a 30-degree incline. Right after, we're gonna go straight into the Gatekeeper, or mud pit, the toughest part of the trail. This is just for fun, though we know the stock setup isn't really capable of making it through. We're just gonna go see how it tumbles. Now reaching the end of the 30-degree incline with a big drop. At the bottom we got logs and dirt waiting for this rig to land on. Let's see if it can make it over. It took a hard hit, but it managed to power through and make it over. Now we're gonna start pushing the tires a bit more. First through sand, then back onto wet dirt in the trail section. We're testing how well they can clean themselves after picking up small debris and mud. After that, we'll try to running over the rocks again. We ran it over some small rocks and logs, then went through a underpass to see how well the stock setup handles tight spaces like caves or tunnels, with all that little scale details that come with it. Even though the tires packed up with dirt and sand, they clean themselves pretty well once they're rolling. These all-terrain tires are doing a great job for a stock setup. This time, we're hitting the articulation module and some logs. Even though the stock setup lacks low-speed finesse and crawl control, it managed to clear all these obstacles with a few jumps here and there, but no tumbles. The rig's high center of gravity makes it shift sideways, and the limited travel suspension and articulation makes it a bit jumpy and less like a real scale driving, but still pretty fun, and you can definitely tackle the trail obstacles. We're hitting that 30-degree incline again, but with a bit more punch. At the end, it just tumbles, wumbles, and hits the floor hard. Back on the trail section, we're tackling bigger obstacles and rocks. This time we had to back up a few times because the ESC lack of low speed and crawl control made it tough to get over without flipping or jumping. Picking the right line for the rig makes a whole lot of difference. Hitting the rocky section, we notice the vehicle's high CG takes its toll, making it slide sideways over obstacles, but still you can power through them. In this section, we're testing flex and articulation on the stock setup, and let me tell you, it's lacking a lot. There's very little clearance, and those hooks on the front bumper tend to catch on rocks and obstacles, making it tougher to get over them. You can also see the tires rubbing against the bumper when it hits bigger obstacles like rocks. In this section, you can see how the low clearance causes struggles. You often have to back up and rethink your line. Let's hit that underpass again, now with the tires wet and packed with mud, and see what happens. We're exiting the underpass, and once the tires hit the sand, they start clogging up pretty quickly after a few runs. Even though it struggled a bit because of the limited suspension and articulation, it made it through. After rolling on the sand a bit, the tires got sugar coated and packed with sand. But don't get me wrong, they clean themselves pretty well too. Once they hit the trail section again and roll a bit, they're good to go. Now we're gonna hit the trail and rocky sections on the toughest part, really pushing this rig's CG, articulation and suspension travel to their limits. It's definitely not a dedicated rock crawler, but it's really fun to drive on the trail. When you're hitting bigger rocks and obstacles, it lacks torque and low speed finesse, the high CG makes it slide sideways, and the limited travel suspension makes it hard to stay planted on the ground over those bigger rocks. But don't get me wrong, it's a beautiful scale rig and it's a blast to drive. Plus, this is why we're testing it here, to set up a benchmark for the next upgrade series we're planning for this Axial SCX24 Lexus GX470. Next up, we're pushing this rig to the max by trying to go over the Gatekeeper on the mildest side of the mudpit. It's a super steep incline but still manageable for most rigs. Trying to go over the Gatekeeper, we noticed the high CG makes slow crawling tough, but if you push the throttle hard enough, the tires will have good grip to make it over the top of the mudpit. It's time to go down. Let's put the drag brake to the test and see how it handles the steeper incline of the mudpit. Impossible, as you can see, it has a lot of scale details on top, making it super top heavy. It just tumbles and wumbles over and over again.
Waves crash like ocean spray. Lights are calling, lead the way. Shadows fall, but we don't care. In this sound, we're free, we're red.
Alright, that's a wrap up for today's adventure. This rig definitely has its limits, but the fun and scale details more than make up for it. If you are into trail runs and scale crawling, this setup is a solid start. And stay tuned because we got some epic upgrades coming on your way. Don't forget to hit that like, subscribe and drop a comment on what would you like to see next. Let's keep the trail vibes rolling. I'll catch you on the next one.